This is Stephendiego, and you're tuned in to Breaking Down the Breakdown. On today's episode, we are going to talk about growth with our very special guest, Poshtriangle. Hey guys, what is going the fuck down? Okay, I'm so sorry. I have not done a show like this in a while, so you're gonna have to kind of just, let me chill for a second because I know I'm not very chill. I'm just really excited because today's episode. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Welcome to Breaking Down the Breakdown. How do I forget my own fucking introduction to my own fucking show? Anyway, let me just jump right into this. Now, season 3 is upon us. Last week 2 weeks ago, I did like a quick episode, just kind of like put my feet back into the water with this whole damn thing, and it didn't go as bad as I thought it would. So I was like, okay, let's get this ball rolling. But I needed my very first guest for this season to be somebody who was outspoken. And I mean that in the best way possible. Look, if you guys aren't watching this on YouTube, she is just priming herself now for the introduction. But I am really
filling my oats.
That's it.
My oats.
This is why I needed her. I was like, okay, I need to get a guest where I'm not going to be the one to carry the whole thing. So thankfully, recently I became a streamer. And this fine, and I say emphasis on fine, young lady. I guess I can emphasize young too. She young. And yeah, she's like, okay, emphasis on everything. She's also a lady. I'll shut the fuck up. Anyway, so this amazing person, was all like, I'm down. I'm going to do it. Let's go. What are we talking about? I said, you know what? Without further ado, I just want to introduce you, Poshtriangle. Hello, Miss Posh. What's up?
Hi. My alias is Poshtriangle. Thank you so much for the juiciest welcome, Stephen. My name is Courtney, but I do usually go by Posh on most, if not all, platforms. I am 25 years young, apparently, and I am a native New Yorker from Queens, New York. My major is in medicine, so pretty much most of my work professions have been in medicine, whether it's medical coding, CNA, PCT, phlebotomy, EKG. You name it, I have a lot under my belt.
I'm sitting here and I'm just kind of like, yes, letters. I get that.
It's been a very long journey. I'm actually still currently in college for my bachelor's, which is surprising because I am 25, and I've been in school for.
I can't comment because I did not start university until I was 21, right? So
yeah, I did take a 2-year break.
Right.
During my journey, which I will talk about later, because it is definitely a topic that we're going to be discussing. But I will say that it's a journey that is worthwhile for sure. But for every step of the way, for the most part, it has been in medicine, and I will continue to pursue in medicine. As far as streaming, it is my way to relieve stress.
I like that.
As bubbly as I am naturally an introvert, so I don't like to go out and socialize and go to the bars and drink with the boys.
You would have had me fucking fooled, like literally.
A lot of people say so. A lot of people think so, and that means that I'm doing something right.
Yeah, you're doing a great fucking job.
That means I'm doing something right, socially. So streaming was definitely, it definitely helped with being able to express myself in a comfortable manner within like my social paradigm that I allow myself in, and I can enjoy company of others while I play games or just talk about random things. So it's like a controlled situation, and I like it. So that's how I ended up meeting Stephen.
I was just about to say this is exactly how I met her, and for me, it's so funny because when I first watched her stream, I was like, oh my God, like, first of all, she's so fucking hot. Second of all, look at her just talking so seamlessly with everybody. that was in her stream. And I was just kind of like, you know what, I want to be more like that. I want to be comfortable like that. Like you just seem so comfortable. And my biggest thing was when we got to actually talk to each other and like, you know, like the random conversation we had when your stream or my stream, and you started talking about how you were like, and I started talking about how I was like, and I was like, holy shit, like when we realized we're so alike. And so now I was just kind of like, you know what? I was thinking about this and something that I wanted to talk about for the longest time. But my thing was I was going to do it alone because and you know, like in some parts of my podcast, some episodes, I've already spoken about how I've grown as a person, but I've never actually focused on that because I felt like everybody's trajectory is so different. And, you know, I could have elected to talk to somebody else who was a completely different version of growth from me, right?
Right.
But I just had to have you on board because okay, as similar as our experiences were, we actually have very different personalities. But the way that we have grown from things, I feel like is what made us so close to each other in such a short amount of time. And that's what I really want to explore here. So, like, I know today's topic is going to be about growth and essentially everything else that comes with it, you know, the good, the bad, the responsibilities, the accountabilities you got to do,
Right.
right? My first question to you is what was it like growing up? Like, what was the environment like where you grew up? And I say this because there's two different ways that we kind of grow up. There's this first one, which is the environment. And then there's the second one in which we realize we need to do a second puberty of sorts where we grow up again, right? So, like, I want to get to the first part. What was the environment like growing up?
Okay, so I will say this. I definitely had a very step laddery sense of growth in my childhood. And that actually had to do with location. So to specify, like I did say that I am a native New Yorker. But when I was, by the way, my parents are not married, so they dated, and my mom had me. And after a little while, my father was like, well, I don't think I could take on this responsibility. And my mother said, oh, that's fine. It's okay. Yeah. And
Go Mama Dukes.
my mom is amazing. If you love me, trust me, I literally am a spit image of my mother.
That's amazing.
And so she took child support from him. And that was only because instead of her chasing him down in the future, that if I decide I wanted to meet my father, she'd rather the government do so, right?
Right.
Can't have the government when they want their monies.
Nope.
So she never touched it, actually. All the child support money, she never touched it. Because I think it's up until the year 21. It was up until then she touched it. And that was when I went on to medical school. So nice. She used all that money that was accumulated and then put that towards the tuition for medical school. So when I was, I'd say 2, my mother, funny story, I told my mom, I want a pizza. So, as a loving mother, she went to drive to this, like, not like a large chain pizza shop, like some small shop. Okay. And she's like, oh, I need to go get gas, like, beforehand. So she stopped at this gas station, and as she's pumping her gas, she sees this person that she's seen, before. And she's like, oh my God, like, hey, is this you? And they used to work together. And he's like, hey, yeah. And he's saying that he's actually going away to medical school in Mexico in the next month. And he's sharing all these amazing news. And she's like, wow, like, I didn't even know that she could do this. Because she is a oh man, how do you say this? First generation, that was the word. I was going to say first. I don't know what I was going to say, but first generation immigrant. Okay. So she came here when she was a teenager. Okay. So it wasn't like as if her parents were the type to like know that, okay, starting from, barely having anything. Yeah, you can absolutely go and become a physician. That's not usually in a single lifetime. Right. You're not, that's a hop, jump, and a leap. So it's not something that was, of course, her mother specifically instilled this, if you want to do something, you push for it, as well as make sure you always have an education. But the highest that she knew, the highest level education and profession that she knew was ultrasound tech.
Okay.
So she didn't know, she wasn't aware, or she wasn't educated on there was more that she could actually do,
Right.
especially that she could afford to do. So if you go out as overseas, you're able to get a cheaper education.
Of course.
So now she starts doing research. She can't get into Mexico, but she finds out about a place in Dominican Republic. She sends in everything. Of course, it's snail mail. They sent a reply back, and they said, okay, well, you can come in now. You'd have to come in within the next week. And she's like, well, I have a kid. I have a house. I have a mortgage. I can't just up and leave. So they said, okay, you know what? You can apply for the next semester. So you have a couple of months, because it's tri-semester. So she has like about 3 to 4 months to prepare for her move. So in that time, she's packing everything. She's making sure that everything could be taken care of for the house. So her sibling is going to be looking over everything, and she just wires over the money to pay for the bills. She's getting everything sorted out with her job, and she's going to take me with her. And then my aunt says, aren't you worried that they're going to hit your kid when you're not there? And she's so young, she's not going to be able to, defend herself or speak up. Do you want your kid to be raised with that type of figure while you're away at school and studying? She's not going to have that motherly love. My mom was like, oh, okay. So my aunt said, why don't you keep her with me? Oh. And my aunt lived in Florida. Yeah. So it wasn't like she wasn't just giving negativity. She did.
Okay, good. I'm sitting here going on a face journey.
Shady. She wasn't being shady. Okay. She wasn't being shady. She was also very supportive, but Perfect. She only had a son. And at the time, her son was, if I was 2, her son must have been maybe 22. That son is old. This man grown out old. The house.
Okay.
Yeah. So, or maybe even older. I don't even know. But he's already way out the house. That's all I remember for sure. And so she always wanted a daughter. And of course she's the oldest of all her siblings. My grandparents had 9 kids. So she's and my mom is in the middle. So my aunt, she's the one that took care of me. She's the oldest. And so she doted me. She would put the diamonds, rubies, every kind of jewelry she put it on me. She'd put me in the fluffiest dresses and the itchiest stockings and the clickety clackety little shiny little church shoes. And she goes to church every day, not every Sunday.
Every day. Oh,
she boy. Is a pivotal person in her community, not only because I am mostly identified as Haitian.
Okay.
From Haiti. And so not only in the Haiti community, which is big in Florida, but also in the Christian community. Sorry, okay. They were raised not Catholic. It was definitely Christian. I know I'm not Christian right now. That's why I'm so confused.
That's okay. But, that's fine.
But yeah, so she was really big in the community. So it was everywhere that she went, I was her little mini me. And it was definitely an interesting experience growing up because I didn't like it. I did not like being, I'm not saying I don't identify as being a female or whatever, but it was just, I just wanted to just hang out in my leggings. You
wanted to chill, right?
And t-shirt. Yeah. And she'd always dote on it ended up becoming that I went into pageantry. I was a Southern Belle.
You were they
put me into modeling. A doll. They
That's
put me
into
modeling, into acting. They put me into, I remember a few times I had to, like CTV or CCTV. No, I think it's CTV. Like C-SPAN.
Yes.
That type of Yes.
No. What did you do with C-SPAN? Like a 6-year-old reading the fucking news? Like 6-year-old at Parliament? I decide.
to be like maybe like 7, 8 years old. And I remember she picks me up after school. We drive super far. And I'm like, what the heck? And it's just me dressing up. She's fixing my hair and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, are you gonna get dinner soon? I don't. And then this other little boy is in his little suit. And I'm like, and they're like, okay, you just have to read what's on here and look at the camera, but look a little off and then whatever. And I was like, okay. I also did ballet. I was very, yup. No sports, nothing other than that. I used to play piano, violin. I was like, I don't know how to say it, but I was Asian without being Asian at this point, honey. I was in the honors class. I was supposed to skip 3 grades. I only skipped 2. Yes, I was a very smart and bright student, and they put a lot on me. Just to have an idea, you would think, oh, okay, my kid, because I used to call her mom because she was essentially my mom for all of elementary.
Yeah.
Oh, my kid is doing so great. Let me treat her. Nope. The most sugary cereal I could have is a life cereal. Does that sound like a sugary cereal to you? Honey, it ain't.
I'm sorry. The only life I know is the miserable one I'm in and the fucking board game. I didn't even know there's a life fucking cereal. What the fuck?
There's a life cereal. It basically is like Chex Mix, but less variety. It's like one.
It's life.
I don't know.
So it's like,
yeah, I don't.
But
it had kids on it. It was meant to be like a healthy cereal for kids.
For kids. I was like, that is foul.
And the only television I was allowed to watch, was either one of 3. Well, technically 4.
Don't say C-SPAN. I will fall out.
No.
Chair.
That was what I was allowed, but I didn't watch that. So this is the things that I watched.
Okay.
It was either Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, baby, I gotta finish the list. I got 2 more fingers. Tom and Jerry.
Okay, all right.
Or it was VHS tapes my mom would personally like procure and buy for me. And a lot of them were like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Shirley Temple movies. Yes, it was very not even Disney. Not even Disney.
White.
Not even Disney.
A white girl.
Not Nickelodeon. None of that.
Oh my God, Posh.
The best fun I had was books. But I read them all. So, and then they didn't give me more. And then the one book that I did ask, and I begged, which was Harry Potter. But my dumb ass couldn't understand what the hell was going on. I was too young. I was like 7 years old trying to read a Harry Potter book. After like the 3rd page, I was like, is he in the closet? Is he out the closet? I don't understand. I remember exactly. It was like, it's like a little closet room under the stairs. And like, I was like, I don't understand. Like the imagery was so deep. I wasn't at that level because I wasn't pushed academically. So yeah, it was a very interesting childhood. I was sheltered, to say the least. I was sheltered and I was very much so guided in a specific direction. I will admit they tried the best that they knew. Because they weren't aware of like after school programs where kids can actually like do stuff academically.
Right.
So that's why they put me in things like music and dance, because I mean, I think that's pretty universal.
Yes.
But as far as putting your kids into something academically after school to like advance them, not because they're dumb, like it's not like tutoring because you're failing. It's like you want an extra. That wasn't, that was something that no one knew in the family.
For sure.
I used to finish my homework as soon as it was handed to me because I thought that was hilariously fun. The teacher would give me
great, to be honest. I wish my fucking kids would do that.
Honestly, they would give me, I feel like this is a little bright. I'm gonna adjust my brightness. I feel like it's whitewashing me out.
You look good. Don't worry.
I know that, honey. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But it would be funny to me that the teacher would give me something and I'm like, oh, okay, let me see if I can hurriedly, and I get it all correct. It wasn't like I would get it all correct. Now, here is the part where you were mentioning about my growth and growing up. Although I did all those things,
Right.
socially, I was an introvert. That was my beginning of being an introvert.
Of course.
I found it difficult to speak up to others. I was always forced to be in these large social situations that probably pressured me to the point where I had to close myself.
Yeah.
Because she knows a lot of people, we'd be invited to all these backyard parties. And what they would do, I don't know if this is just a Black thing, but you would come into the party. As Haitians, we do adopt French culture. So I would have to kiss everyone or kiss everyone on the cheek.
Okay.
If there's a party, I have to go around every
Do
single
that to every person,
in the party,
yeah.
and also adults, which is very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. And then after you do all that and they show you off, oh, look at this little, after they show you off, then they put you in a room where other kids are. And then they're like, go make friends. And then the adults go back out and they drink.
Yeah.
Was I the only one who experienced this?
No, you see, okay, like it is very similar to my culture, and it's except for the whole kissing thing, right? We have this thing called like, it's like the bless you, where you take somebody's hand and you put it on your forehead as a sign of respect.
Oh,
yeah. But you do have to do that to every single adult once you get into the party before you get shipped off to where the kids are. And you know what's funny about that is that when I was growing up and I had to do all that, I didn't want to leave the adults because in a way that I can see why it's weird, the whole kissing thing, like that's fucking strange. But for me, because I was so exposed to the elderly people rather than the kids, you know, my anxiety was with the whole, oh, look, I was given all of this comfort by all of these adults that I can somehow trust, and now they're pushing me into a bunch of kids that are rowdy that I don't know. And I feel like, I don't know, like just for me, that was my start of social anxieties, was being in a room full of kids that I didn't know how to interact with them because they didn't tell me how to interact with other kids, right? It's like they told you how to do it with adults. They told you how to show respect to adults, but they never told me this is how you interact with other kids. Why don't you just go say hi? Why don't you go play with them? Nothing. It's literally, oh look, there's kids, and they leave me there. So
the whole party.
Right? There you go.
And then you sitting here and you counting the fucking clock. Everybody, like, it's 11 o'clock. It's a school night. Let's all go find our parents and try to drag them out. That takes a whole nother 30 minutes. And then once you're in the car, that takes another 30 minutes because they got to talk to people.
They got to talk
over you while you're in the seatbelt. It's apparently, honey, that's a universal issue that I guess we cannot solve in this generation. But that was for me, whether it was for the kids or whether it was for the adults, I was very quiet. It could be that maybe I was because I was an only child, but I was very quiet and I didn't really talk to other people. And when I did, it didn't work out so well from my memory. It wasn't, I guess I wasn't memorable, so to speak. So if there was options besides myself, they would go for the other options. And then I would be left behind. So I didn't really, and it wasn't like as if I was like, oh, hey, I do this and I do that. And it was just like, it wasn't, I wasn't at that point when I was like in elementary school. Right. It was just like, hi, how are you?
That's it. Yeah. You just,
and it's like,
what do I
okay. And I would just sit there and it's like, and then they're just like, the fuck is wrong with you? And I do realize that when I was comfortable, like for instance, I do have a cousin who is 3 months older than me. Okay. And he did live in Florida, but he lived a little bit further. So usually I went to see him when it was like on vacation, school vacation and stuff. And he was like the cool older brother I wish I had. And he always doted me, and he had friends in his like neighborhood and stuff. And he would invite me out to hang out with his friends. But again, because I'm not like cool or memorable, I would get left out often.
Okay.
And because I was in a space where I was comfortable with my cousin, I felt very flustered, or I guess conflicted, where it's
Okay.
like I want to be myself, I want to hang out with you guys, but you're not giving me the opportunity to. So
Hmm.
I would kind of like wedge myself in, and then that would make situations awkward. And it wasn't until like as he got older that my cousin told me that like, yeah, my friends absolutely fucking hated you. Like
Oh my God,
they
no
were
way.
like, they were like, oh, your cousin Courtney's coming. See you after supper. Like they were like,
No
no, I'm so
way.
serious. And he would choose me over his friends. And I didn't realize that
Oh,
that's what I know. And I used to pick on him all the time.
oh.
You know, we chase each other and stuff like that. Like, I mean, we're so close in age. So,
Yeah.
but it wasn't until I was older. I'm talking about like 20 plus that we had this conversation. I was like, holy shit, like you serious? I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but it's that I'm only bringing that up just to give an idea of that I wasn't necessarily well received by people of my age. So that was very interesting growing up then. Did I feel like I have a sense of identity? No.
No.
Maybe that could have been it. But I definitely did not feel like I had a sense of identity. I was forced into Christianity, and I didn't believe in it because everywhere I saw around me for those who were Christians were going through the most insane hardships.
Right.
And I'm like, why would, not to start up like a religious war, but I was like,
Hmm.
why would God hurt the people who love him the most?
Right.
Like if you love him the most, he should protect you a little bit more
Mhm.
and not let you be as hurt, right? But of course, if you're not a good person and you don't love God, then you deserve consequences. That's what it seems. But from my experience of what I saw growing up, that wasn't the case, and I was very conflicted,
Right.
and and like I was very, I guess, also headstrong about it. But I think that was the first thing that I really like stood by, that I can remember as far as identifying who I am. Um, and then slowly it became music. And so after elementary school, my mom had graduated medical school. So congratulations to her.
Yay, mama.
And so when I went to middle school, I went back to New York, actually
Okay.
at this house. And there is a school that is nearby here. Um, that was an interesting year because they're like, why do you have a Southern accent? Um, yeah. And they were like, why do you wear a
Oh
uniform
my
when it's not even
God.
mandatory? Like, why do you, but like I used to button it up to the top button. Like
Oh, Lord,
I used to
Posh.
wear my pants over my shirt. Like I used to tuck my shirt in.
So prim and proper. I
Okay, like
mean,
if you can point out a nerd, honey,
that would have
ding
been
ding
you.
ding, it was me. Um, but again, I being in New York, it's like you almost don't have a choice. Even the non-cool kids are cool to some degree.
Mhm.
So I was forced to develop a personality. And this is where I started to change. I started to force myself to be extroverted in order to have some sort of social life.
Right.
So I started having like my first friend that I forgot to mention this in elementary school. I was never invited to any kid's birthday party
Oh
or
my God.
function at all. Not a single one.
Was it because of how you
Not
were?
at all. Not at all. Um, who wants to invite me? That's extra mouth to feed that you don't like. Like, I
Oh no.
like
Gosh.
when you got to think about.
That's true. Okay, yes. Look, I don't want to say that you were, but I do have to kind of backtrack a little bit and say, it's funny that you say these things because from what it seems like so far, right? Like it is. I am in complete agreement with the fact that you just didn't really have your identity, right? Like it was projected onto you what they wanted you to be like, what they thought would make you successful, right?
Right, right,
And I feel like,
exactly.
with the way you talk about it, like it's funny because there's not a sign of resentment in your voice, because no matter how terrible it seemed, like it sounded like for you, it's almost as if you were like, well, you know what, like it was an experience and it's okay. And that is kind of like, for me, was the very interesting thing. And that's why, like earlier when you were saying the whole like Shirley Temple Jeopardy Wheel of Fortune thing, I'm like, I can fucking relate to that. And I said that's so white because, girl, in the Philippines, I I'm not gonna out who these people are, but growing up, I had to watch Wheel of Fortune, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and Jeopardy, because you know what? The white and the black people are the smartest people ever, and we want to be like them. That's what they say. But you're already black, so I'm gonna be like, well, that's the white thing because of the Shirley Temple addition to that. Because trust me too, like it's weird how our cultures can be so different, but like I don't even know how to explain, but on my end, it was almost like it's not a Filipino identity they wanted me to have growing up now. It's a
Right.
completely different culture. And for you, I guess maybe it's just their frustrations of like, you know what, maybe they wanted to, it's the daughter thing, right? They just want the best for the daughter they never had.
Absolutely. They definitely were I said growing up, they were groomed
Mhm.
to identify certain characteristics, traits, skills, features that defined or at least secured the perception of success.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure you already know. If you're not a doctor, lawyer, or president, something ain't right.
Yep.
You not living to your family's legacy
Yep.
as you should have. So it's very much so like, it's incredibly competitive to be any of those three things, let alone successfully and not go into debt.
For sure.
So to be able to give you that edge, to give you that advantage, then they're like, well, you have to be fair skinned. You have to make sure that you are good looking and pretty. So clear skin, nice teeth. Make sure you groom yourself. Make sure you're always making sure that you like clean yourself. And
Right.
make sure you iron your clothes. And make sure you get your collar nice and stiff when you go to school in your
Right.
uniform, so you're well respected when you walk around. Like I was taught an etiquette, how to sit, how to have my shoulders, how to speak, how to look at someone, how, like, I had to learn that because that was supposed to be, oh, a white thing, right? This is how white people act and talk, and they poise themselves. Oh, hello. How, hello. And you don't
Where did that come
like,
from?
it's just bullshit to me. It's just like, have you ever seen Love and Hip Hop New York with
Of
Cardi
course.
B?
Come on now. You're
With
taunting me
Cardi
here.
B.
Yes, I watched
And then she's like, hello, my name is Cardi and I'm from the Bronx.
during
Like
Kara's
it's like
class with Bonnie, with Bianca.
it's exactly like that. Like it is, I had to learn, bro. I had to learn how to fucking eat with like the four fucking, I forgot the number now because
Oh,
fuck that.
boy. You
But like
went
with
through some
all,
training.
I said. It was full etiquette training that I had to go through. How to sit with a skirt, a dress, how to have my legs sideways and like have my ankles buckled over like this into pose. You know what? I got you something. Give me 1 second because I feel like you don't believe me. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna have to pause this video for a sec. Actually, I'm gonna just do this
Here,
because I don't want to mess up
okay,
the
let me
setting.
pause this and we'll record again when we come back. I'll be right back, guys.
My teeth looking.
Okay, we're back.
I guess my teeth look nice. Thank you.
They
All
do.
right, so I had to get this. This was shipped from Florida. This is from my
Okay.
aunt.
Okay.
And this is the stuff that I had to, I probably did this, ignore my crappy chairs, but I probably did this, I'd say once every 2 months. She
Mm-hmm.
loved this. And she would put pictures like this everywhere around the house. So when people come over and they're like, wow. And then, yeah. You ready?
I'm
Should we get a
fucking.
drum roll or a countdown? The softest drum roll ever. Poor
That
baby.
is. Hey,
Okay.
come on,
Ow, I just almost got myself a splinter.
bro. What the fuck? No,
There we go.
Courtney. 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 I was expecting to be all like, what the fuck? And now I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think that is the cutest fucking thing ever. I fucking wish I had one of that of me on my fucking wall right now. Okay?
I fucking can't. Yo,
I'm sorry for all of
don't
you
get your
listeners,
future kids mad at me, okay?
Let me just, because y'all probably just like, what the fuck happened? Like everyone just stopped talking. She just pulled out a big ass motherfucking portrait photo of herself when she was a kid. Okay, not a Walmart quality. Okay, like somebody like, I don't know, that probably worth like $500 kind of shit. Okay. So, all right, I see now. I see where you're coming from. So that is who you were as a child.
I look the same. It's kind of crazy.
It's kind of weird. It's like, did you just put your face on a child's body?
You're right. That's exactly what it is. But yeah, so I did have to I just had to like put that out there. I was not invited to social events by kids. Not a birthday party, not an after school kid. That's what it felt like. I forgot so as I mentioned in middle school, I realized I had to change. It wasn't just because of New Yorkers. I forgot that there was a very serious turning point in my life when I was in elementary school. And so when we graduated, I did say I was in Florida. So for the fifth grade trip, we're supposed to go to Disneyland. Yeah, okay. So Disney World is Cali, so Disneyland is Florida. So
switch
as you know, like
switch it.
Is it
Disney World? Yes.
Yeah. Well, shit. All right. So it's Disney World. It's Disney World in Florida. So we went to Disney World.
Okay.
And so we were supposed to have chaperones. And I think, let's say, like, if there was like, I don't know, like 6 or 8 chaperones, each chaperone would have like maybe 3 kids.
Okay.
So then that like figured out for the entire class or whatever. So I was like, oh, I want my grandfather to come with me, and then he could be chaperone. He doesn't have to pay, right? Because we're not paying for this. This is like the school paid for it. And my grandfather, oh, I love him so much. He's still alive. Man's old as heck, but I love him. He's like a father figure that, that I obviously didn't have.
Of course, yeah.
But there was a language barrier. This man barely speaks English.
And yet somehow
Creole French.
Creole,
yeah.
Yes.
It's like broken down French.
Okay.
And when I was younger, I used to be able to speak Creole. But as I got older and I less practice and stuff, it just went away. But I was able to like communicate with him with like our own broken language between English and Creole.
Okay.
And so he came with me. And like I said, there's supposed to be 3 people for each one. As soon as we got off the bus, the teacher was explaining something, but my grandfather is not paying attention because he's speaking in English. So they said, let's say, I don't know, we started at 9:00. They said at 1:00, we're going to meet up so we could have lunch together at so-and-so place. You leave, you continue hanging out, and then at 4:00 we're gonna leave or something like that. Let's just say that was the plan.
Okay.
I heard 1:00 and I was like, bet we gotta leave at 1:00. So we got 3 hours.
I am fucking dead.
I'm dead ass. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's what we can do, whatever.
That is such a kid thing.
But then I'm a freaking like 9 years old.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say that.
Maybe. So it's like, I'm excited as shit. I'm not really paying attention to what the fuck is going on. Like this. So now they're like, okay, you three go here, you three go here. They're pairing us up. So
Okay.
now we're walking from the coach buses into the park. And as they're walking into the park, each one they go their different ways. And so, the three of us were walking and I'm just chilling. I'm not like running places. It's just so extra. We got all this 3 hours of time. And we just
I am dead.
chilling. I'm enjoying the scenery and these nice bushes and stuff. Like I'm not even there yet. And I'm like, yeah, this is nice. This is exquisite. And then in a split second, so the two kids who were with me, they were talking to each other like they were way ahead,
Okay.
talking to each other because they didn't want to be seen with me and my grandfather. And all of a sudden, when there was like a division, they split up and they ran. And they ran away.
No.
They ran away.
Fucking children.
I was with my grandfather. I was like, what do we do? He's already a grandpa at that age. You know what I mean? Like, he ain't gonna just fucking put out his New Balance sneakers and start running after one of those. He's not. Like, so we're just sitting there like, well, damn, we lost 2 kids. I guess we not gonna catch them. Like, bless their hearts. It was nice knowing them, but
oh no,
sounds like a personal problem to me. So we end up walking a little bit further up, and then we end up coming up to an arcade, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I see this all the time.
Right.
They have the little machines and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is so dope. This is so dope, which I didn't realize you needed money to pay to play. So I'm walking in there, and then I see the 2 kids, and they're looking at me like. I'm like, bet. Say less.
All right.
Say less.
Let me just.
And so what it was is that they did not I try to like, hey, we're supposed to stick together.
Yeah.
They would keep walking away. They did not want to. Yes, they did not want to hang out with me. And I try to let's say if someone else is playing a game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, wow, ooh, yeah. They will like be super, super rude to me. Or I think it wasn't at the arcade, but one of them ended up pushing me away because they were like, I don't want to hang out with you at all.
What?
I was like, was not buying y'all ice cream all of 5th grade in the cafeteria.
You couldn't
and
have
y'all
been
using
that
my
weird,
homework.
Posh.
I was an outcast. I don't think you understand. It was really bad. Like I used to get bullied. I used to from 2nd to 4th grade, the boys used to because we had to line up every time you move somewhere in between classes.
Was this because of how you were dressed and how you were?
They used to the boys used to treat me like a boy and give me wedgies.
I am just, the kids are terrible. What the fuck?
Yeah. And then one of them cut half my braid.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Yeah. What the fuck?
I mean, you don't have to be sorry because it's not as if you were the kid who was fucking doing that to me, but it was, I don't know. I wish I understood. I definitely wish I understood
this
why
is a public
that
service
was.
announcement. Please, if you have kids, do not let your kids be like that. Please, I will come for you if you do. Thank you.
I don't know why. And it wasn't as if I went up to them and was like, "You piece of shit,"
yeah,
and then ran away,
provoking them or anything. It just
no. But when it was time for homework and when it was time to get answers,
they just
Courtney. Hey, Courtney, how's it going? Oh my God,
so
I love you, whatever. And then or if I have snacks, my grandfather all the time, he used to dote on me. Just like a grandma would, except he wouldn't bake me pies. He would just buy me pies. So I would come to school with all these snacks and brownies and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, cool. You got a cosmic brownie. I love cosmic brownies. And I'm like,
God.
Do you want it?
Oh, no.
Oh, that's so nice. Oh, you're such a good friend. And I'm like, friend?
Oh my
God. A brownie
do
was
that
friendship.
To you after.
And then, so when I thought that 5th grade was starting to get better.
Yeah.
And then I saw what happened at the end of the year where no matter who I try to like, and like there were girls who were like, I remember this one girl, she was Spanish, she had like really thick curly hair, but she sang out with the pretty girls, but occasionally she hung out with me. And I realized that she was using me. Whenever she hung out with me, it was for like those reasons. Like she wanted something from me, but otherwise she wouldn't hang out with me. And so when I went up to her, thinking like, we talked a couple of times, like all throughout the year and stuff, had no association with me at all. And I was like, that was my moment to say, wow, I need to change who I am, or I'm going to live the rest of my life being socially ostracized. So I remember like in middle school, I started to like exaggerate stories. I was very imaginative, but it was just in my own head. So now they're like, oh, what did you do? If I happen to, fuck man, just give me a story. If I happen to, let's say I happen to go on vacation to Mexico. Let's just say a hypothetical. Yeah. I went on vacation to Mexico. I would say, oh yeah, we had this amazing hotel and then we did this kayaking thing. And then, yeah, did you know that they have like these like tall ass blue birds and then you feed them like sweet bread and stuff. And they're like, oh my God, I don't fucking know no goddamn blue bird. Like,
so you went to Mexico is what you meant. Like when you say you went to Mexico, you went to Mexico.
Yes, it was like every moment was it was eventful.
I see.
I made it in a way that like no one could like call me out on my lies, and then people were starting to gravitate towards me. And then I literally would force myself to like say what I was thinking out loud.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just saying it's in my head. So I'm like, oh, wow, that's so cool. Oh, I just keep that shit in my head. And I'm like,
no,
that's my face all the time. But otherwise I'm like, oh yeah. Ha 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 ha. Like that would be me forcing myself to like pull whatever is in here outside.
Yeah.
And it worked. I got to hang out with the cool kids. Like they're like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I dance ballet, so I could do a split. They're like, oh, you could do a split? Oh yeah, do a split now. And I do a split. And they're like, oh my gosh, she's so cool. She could do a split.
Oh my God. This is I am
dumb that is. I just realized how dumb that is. But the popular girls were like the girls who wear the tight clothes.
Yes.
And they're always like, oh my God, Jason.
Yeah.
Like that. So of course, doing a split is like the pinnacle of sex, I guess. I don't understand.
Middle school.
It's middle school for sure. So it was like they cared for me, but of course it was under the pretense that I don't necessarily align myself with, right? My teacher ended up seeing that I had incredible potential, that I was smart. So she's like, instead of putting her to the regular school that they would go to, put her to an all-girls school that is like specifically for like smart girls. And then she doesn't have to, because she's also like kind of like to herself and shy, she doesn't have to worry about making friends with boys or dealing with boys. Just like focus on identifying herself. My mom was like, okay, that's perfectly fine. So I went there. That was also challenging. Because at that time I started to learn who I was.
Right.
And sharing who my new found self was not well received because I was into rock music, things like that. And so they're like, what are you listening to all these white people music for? Like, oh no. And I was into anime and they're like, what the fuck is this? Like, and so like cartoons and shit, like, why is Naruto running with his arms backwards? What is you did not. I'm like, I was like, so it was very difficult because now I have to defend a new person,
right?
Myself, which I don't. It was like, okay, do I continue? I was like, you know what? I don't care. At that point, I was like, you know what? I don't care. Maybe it was the hormones, but I was like, I don't care. I'm just gonna continue being me. And I was starting to embrace me very hard. I started to identify bisexuality. Right. I started to delve into more interests. I started to go into creative writing. And like, I actually wrote like fan fiction stories, chapter after chapter after chapter. So I was learning more about myself. And then something tragic happened. Oh, but that's maybe for another podcast. And then high school rolled around, and I had the choice because we applied for like boarding schools and stuff. But again, because my mother was not aware of these things until last second, if you want to go to boarding school or a specialized high school, you have to prepare yourself since middle school. And I was not prepared with the extracurricular that they were demanding. You not only had to be an A honor student, you have to also do all these other things. But because I moved from Florida, the music, the dance, all those things, I stopped doing them because I was in Florida. My mom was like, she's only one person. She can't focus on all of that.
All of those stuff, yeah.
Exactly. So because of that, they're like, yeah, she's smart, but what else can she do? And I was like,
I can do the splits.
More?
I'm kidding.
Honestly, I wish I probably should have said that. Think about it. Damn. So it was either I went to a really good high school in Jersey and live with my cousins, or I continue into New York, go to it was a nice school, but it's the people. It's the people that really makes the difference in the funding. So it's a really great school considering all the circumstances in New York City. But I'm also allowed to go back into dance, which I was begging my mom for. So it was essentially dance over better education. Dance, better education. I chose better education for the sake of my mother. And I was like, you know what? I would be living with my cousins, which I fucking hated growing up. But I was like, you know, we're older now and I'm in high school. I think things should change, right?
Yeah.
No. Oh. So it was, again, me fighting for my identity. They also picked on me for being how I am. They picked on me for my interests. They picked on me. I was a scene kid, like a scene emo kid. So I used to have like I'm still damn near have my hair like this, but like my hair is like this, and then I tease this, and I might have a couple of highlights.
Oh my goodness, you were one of those. And
I would have like all like the little band bracelets and spikes and like. And
no,
like
there's nothing wrong with that. At least for me, like, you know, I have a bunch of scene friends. There was nothing wrong with that. But I can just imagine for you.
In a predominantly white school.
I mean.
Yeah, there had to be, in my graduating class, there had to be, I'd say maybe 10 students who were Black.
Oh my
God. And that might be a little generous. Might be. So there wasn't really a lot of Black people, and a lot of them were whitewashed. Even those who identify themselves as not being whitewashed.
Right.
Ultimately, if you hanging out in the ocean long enough, bitch, you might as well fucking swim like a fish. Like
exactly.
At this point, you can't sit here and be like, you know, you end up assimilating subconsciously. And so that was a fight because I was now fighting people outside and inside of my home.
Of course.
And I started to focus more on socializing than school, which of course affected the F out of my school.
Well, yeah.
Especially in a predominantly white school where I'm doing incredibly well. They're like, okay, wow, she's really smart. Let's put her in all honors and fucking AP classes in the freshman year of her fucking high school. And I was sitting there like, I was like, should I speak up? Because I don't know what's going on. And then eventually they end up noticing that like, yeah, she's not fitting. So they ended up like pushing it down to just mostly honors and then take out all the AP because
that's too much.
Yeah, it was way too much. But as far as friendship, it took within the 4 years, it did take all those 4 years in order for me to actually make friends. Because I think the definition of what people say friends is so fucking loose that when it's time for you to actually stand up to the responsibilities of that
being
title,
a friend,
that's when you realize it's too fucking late.
Yeah,
like it was exactly, you were never a friend. To give another gist, to give another gist, I had my sweet 16 and I was really into like Victorian era. So I wanted this really lavish, like area, venue, and we picked this place. And because the lady liked me a lot, she gave us like a really big discount. She took $1,000 off. That was a really big discount. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, because she really liked me, and I had like a whole photographer, and I had an outfit change because I was like, oh, we're gonna in the bar area. There's gonna be a cocktail area. We're gonna have a cocktail dress. And then I changed to like this huge like Victorian ball gown with these vintage Victorian shoes. They were literally vintage Victorian shoes. And I did all of this. I invited almost 300 people. This includes family. Maybe about 40 of them, like 30 to 40 of them were family.
Where the hell did you hold that?
I invited that many people. The venue was supposed to have minimum 150, but she was like, as long as you have like half of that, like she'll allow it because she really liked me. And so I was like, okay, cool. I was like, well, we're definitely gonna reach out. We're definitely gonna reach out. Oh, no problem. So we do all that. I invite all these people. I give them plenty of time, plenty of reminders. At my party, including family and myself and the photographer, there were only 61 people there.
No.
Keep in mind, like a little bit more than half is family.
Yeah.
So out of the hundreds of friends I invited, only about like 15 of them showed.
Shut the fuck up.
That was another moment where I was like, you know what? Fuck these people. Fuck friends. I'm just going to do my shit. If you're down to hang with me, cool. If you don't want to hang with me, I don't care at this point.
But I'm very interested in the fact that what was it about you that deterred people from being your friend?
And you know what I think it was? I think it's because when you're growing up, and again, depending on your environment and community and what is expected of you, you seek certain things out of people.
Yeah.
And what I had and what I possessed in my character, like my characteristics and traits growing up, they were valued as I was older, not for when I was a kid.
Right.
All while I was growing up, it was always adults who doted on me. It was always adults who were like, wow, you were incredible. I adore you. And kind of similar to what you were saying, where it's like you feel a little bit more comfortable with adults.
Yes.
I was always defined as mature or intellectual. So I could actually have a decent conversation and like bonding with an adult or someone who was older in college, let's say, or whatever, than opposed to someone who was my age. I never felt like I fit within my age group. And to some degree, I still feel like I don't. Because people, even as a 25-year-old, I sound like I have my whole life together, but there's some people I know who are like 50 years old, who are literally like 50 years old, who still can't get a grasp on who they are and take accountability for who they are.
Amen. I tell you.
My uncle is one of them. Okay. So it's like,
oh no.
And I'm sitting here like, sir, how did you even make it this far in life with the way that you're thinking right now? It doesn't make any sense. So I think it wasn't necessarily what was wrong with me. And that was the wrong question to ask myself.
Yeah.
It was more so of like, what am I going to do about it? Okay. And I chose to acknowledge the situation, acknowledge that this just wasn't the right time for me. And as much as it hurt, and as I went through depression, and it hurt really bad to like, of course you yearn for it, but it's just not, the timing just isn't for you right now.
No.
You know, you see other people, and I think in a way to like make it make sense, but like if you see other people who have their blessings right now, you're busting your ass at work, you know, you're putting out, you as a musician, you're trying to put out music, you're trying to like, create these projects from the ground up, and you want to meticulously make sure that it's perfect to your eyes, but also you want it to appease the audience.
Right.
And you're like, okay, well, I'm a talented singer. I'm talented at songwriting, producing, and I'm phenomenal at marketing. I do have a social base or platform to be able to grow from. Why is it that I'm not getting the clout and exposure as someone else who isn't even close to like understanding their like vocal technique and like advancing, and it's like, I don't know the terminology for it, but you know exactly what I'm saying.
No, I do.
You're like, why is it that they can hire a ghostwriter? They are pitchy as shit. Okay. And they are getting deals with Atlantic Records or whoever it is. And you're like, well, where is the standard? Where is the line drawn? Like, I don't understand. Why are they popping off now? And they've only started singing 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And they have an EP out.
Mm-hmm.
And they have some other maybe celebrity fucking T-Pain featuring on their shit. And you're like, but why?
I'm being read to filth at this moment, guys. Let me just take this time.
By the way, audience, I have no idea who I'm talking about. I am literally just creating this.
No, but you know what? Person. It is, and it has crossed my mind with a bunch of artists already that are out there, where I'm just kind of like, I can write just as well as they do. I'm not that bad looking. Like, is it maybe just because I'm Asian and it's harder for people like me, right? Because it's almost like a niche. It's like, oh my God, look, representation matters, Asian guy, right? So it's one of those things for me, like, I know exactly what you mean, Posh.
And it can absolutely be all those factors.
Yeah.
But what I like to tell myself is, listen, I know I'm the shit, okay? My manifestation is going to come through, right? As long as I believe so, and as long as I make sure that I put that out there, that I put that energy out there in the world, anyone is going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be known, and I will get, what the reward that I deserve.
Yes, ma'am.
But it just may not be my time. I'm in school for fucking years. I remember people who I went to high school with, I graduated with, they have their own businesses in Thailand and fucking like Singapore. They are, millionaires. I have friends who are like really doing well. They have babies. I'm like, bitch, you. And it's like they got families. Like they are doing the things that they said they were gonna do, and it's happening.
Yeah.
Or something else is happening. And then like another fairy tale, adult life is happening for them. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
My credit score looking a little shady. I'm still in school at fucking 25. Everybody else got I'm looking at Tinder. Everybody got a bachelor at my age group. I said, well, shit. Something not right. Something's not sitting right with me. And I used to be very embarrassed to tell when I came back from medical school, which I will get to the fact that was a part of my life. I came back from medical school and I had to finish my bachelor's. And I was embarrassed for the longest to even tell someone, yeah, I'm still doing my bachelor's. Because now they're going to start asking questions. Oh, what happened? Did something happen in between? Do you have a kid? Someone die?
Oh my God.
Are you broke? Like there's so many questions. And to have to go through that and explain, they're just like, that's crazy. But I can tell and I can feel that they're looking down on me because my achievements are not enough because the society demands that you are to do certain things in a certain way. And if you deviate from that by the slightest bit, you are no longer deemed successful.
Right.
Or you don't have that chance anymore. You missed it. So therefore, what the fuck are you doing? But that's not the case. Your time isn't ready. And so that's how I felt with my social life. I felt like my time wasn't ready. I just need to try the best I can to push my ass out of fucking high school, away from these people, from everybody, and get into college. And when I got into college, I had a little hoe phase.
Okay. I
You
mean, I feel
know,
like that's normal, like we
and that was also
gotta do
part of my
that.
growth as far as
Yes.
another hormonal side. But when I was in college and I had my I don't give a fuck attitude, it felt very great because no one else gave a fuck as well. And I was like, this is
This is
nice.
great.
I like minding my business. I like this. I like this. I like you. Have a cupcake. That was definitely how I felt
Oh my.
in college. And I was like, this is what I wanted. I just wanted
Yes.
to just mind my own fucking business, chill the fuck out. If you want to vibe with me, cool. If I don't see you tomorrow, that's perfectly fine. But don't fucking be like, oh my God, Bessie. Like, chill the fuck out. Like,
Yeah.
you're an acquaintance.
Right.
Let's both acknowledge this and not like, lie to each
Yeah.
other and keep it very transparent. And that's when I realized, like, I just had it to wait my time. Yes.
My thing, and I like that. I want to just kind of now it's very interesting to me because not a lot of people, especially kids growing up, would have the same kind of mentality that you had. So that's where, this is why it's very interesting. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. When I started this whole thing about, what, I want to talk about growth, this was not the kind of growth I expected, right? And you started going off, and I was just kind of like, hold on, now wait a minute. Now we have something here that is actually very important to discuss because I don't know if you see it the way that I do, but you were in such it's a very interesting position to be in growing up because it's like what you said, you were being groomed into someone else that you weren't. But none of those things were actually a detriment to you. And that was kind of the most interesting fact about this whole thing. It's easy for people to write that off and say that, oh, you know what? You had such a hard time at school because of this and that and this and that. And that's how it felt, right? So it's it's I feel like I'm so proud. I feel like a parent just hearing you say that it just wasn't your time yet, because that is exactly what happened. And it's so funny though, and I don't know if you realize the way you just told that whole story and how it is now, because, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers and listeners will kind of pick up on this, especially right after you said, well, I just told myself it just wasn't my time, and when you got to college that was your time, because it was almost like a reverse, right? It was like as we grow up, we tend to learn our social cues. As we grow up, we tend to, find out what kind of people we want to hang out with, the kind of people we want to surround ourselves with. And you had none of that. It was like, I'm sorry, you were a doll. You were developed, you were like an android. It was like developed to doing all of these crazy things. Like, let's test her limits. Where is she going to be? It was like an aptitude test for fucking 12 years, 13 years of your fucking life. And it was one of those things that by the time you had hit the age where you went to college, it's as if you just knew who you were at that point. And
Right.
yeah, and I felt like, it was so satisfying hearing this whole entire thing leading up to that, because I was expecting you to be like, this really broke me, this really destroyed me. And not once, not motherfucking once did you fucking say that.
I mean, I in high school I did go through depression because it sucked. I mean, I think a lot of like older teens, they definitely, or younger teens, they definitely relate to this, where if your home isn't a healthy one, or your
Right.
environment isn't a healthy one, you are legally not allowed to leave. You cannot.
Yeah.
You are binded by the guardians, the legal guardians, or your birth parents. You legally belong to them. That is, not want to say property, but they are accountable, and they have a liability for you.
Yeah.
And so not everyone is taught how to be a caregiver. Not everyone
No,
is
for
taught how to
sure.
be a caretaker. And
For
so
sure.
it's you may just have a fucking fucked up lottery ticket, and then you are stuck.
Yeah.
you are stuck and the government does not know. Sorry, I like hair.
That's okay.
My lip. But the government, sorry.
I'll be right back as she licks her motherfucking lips for the hair. Thank you, Posh.
But the government definitely doesn't have, I mean, that's a separate topic as well. The government doesn't have the healthiest measures to be able to intervene. But a lot of teenagers, a lot of times they feel stuck. They want to run away. They want to kill themselves because they can't run away. They can't, they can't do all those things. So they're like, well, fuck it. I'm just not going to remove myself completely from the equation, not even from this house, just completely.
Just from life.
And it is flustering to feel stuck. And a lot of my years, I felt stuck. And the depression really hit me in high school. And that was because I did not feel like I had a place or control over my life.
Right.
I felt like I had to ride this fucking canoe down this river. And bitch, I wanted to walk. Like, I wanted to explore. Like, I did not want to be here. And I can't get out the canoe because the river is gonna fuck my ass up. So if I get out to try to get, it wasn't my time. I had to go and fucking wash off until like the calmest water so I can get out the canoe or get myself over and I can get out into the forest and walk the way I want to walk.
But you see, this, let me interrupt that, but this is exactly where I'm going with that. You painted it so perfectly that, you know, and I've been there, right? Like I've told my fair share of fake stories. One time in grade 9, I really wanted people to, you know, just really feel bad for me. And that was the depression talking. That was the OCD talking because I felt like I wasn't getting attention. I had a headache. I went to school and they said, guys, I have meningitis, not knowing what the fuck that was. Everybody thought I was about to die. Okay. So to their surprise, I come back to school next week. I was fine. So, you know, like my thing was people like you and I are so different in this aspect. Because I know you wanted to remove yourself at some point because you were stuck and you felt like you had no choice. But my question now is, at which point in your little journey in your head of you thinking over these things made you realize it just wasn't my time yet and I will wait until I can flourish?
Two things in my life that if they did not exist, I may not be alive, bitch. I don't fucking know. Right. So one was I live with my aunt and uncle who had their grown kids still living in the house. So one of them, which is the oldest, he's a male, when I was a freshman, he had a girlfriend. He was probably like, I don't know, like 26, 25. And the girlfriend was like 19. And it was nice because me and her used to hang out a lot because even though I was 13 and she was 19, we're both like very young.
Yes.
So, and like, she was actually really kind and their relationship was not that great because my cousin is also just a very piece of shit. He's just the worst guy ever. Okay. Ever. So the relationship wasn't that great. And so his room is like, let's say his room is here. My room is like this. Okay. And then the doors are like my thumb, right? Oh, so she would end up coming to my room a lot of times. And he didn't like that because who wants to come back to your room and then your girlfriend's hanging out with your baby cousin all day? Yeah. You want to fuck your girlfriend, you want to hang out with your girlfriend. And then she's hanging out with your baby cousin. Yeah, you're just kind of like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and y'all not getting along too well. So you're hoping that your dick will fix it, but never does. Anyways, I'm fucking done. So they ended up breaking up after some time, which they had like a literal physical fight. So my goodness. I told you he was the worst. I'm sorry. Like I don't give a fuck about him, but he is literally the worst. Okay. But he attracts the most beautiful fucking women. You know, it's like that has to do with trauma. That's really what it is. It has to really do with trauma. But she was someone that he knew for like when they were younger. So there was some history and like a lot of forgiveness because of like she knew why he was the way that he was. So the second woman, which is a woman that I absolutely look up to and adore, she's my hero. She was close to the age to him, but she went through a lot of stuff, and she was my mentor, so to speak. She was very wise, very wise. You look at her and you just think, oh, like she's ghetto trash or something, but she is incredibly intelligent and so wise. And she was really the first person who accepted all aspects of me. She never judged me for like when I was like, oh, I want to be a cyber goth and like put my hair like this. She's like, okay, get the colored extensions and I'll put it in your hair.
That's amazing. Like no questions asked, right?
Just I went to school with a corset one day and I would wake her up at like 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, hey babe, can you please, tighten it, whatever. And she's like, all right. And then she's like half asleep. And then she's like pulling the shit out of my corset and like doing it for me. And it's like, she was incredibly supportive. She ended up getting pregnant like this because of him. And that was one of his manipulative ways to keep her around.
Oh my God.
Keeping her pregnant. When she was pregnant, we became close. When she started giving birth to her kid, even closer. I was taking care of her kid a lot. Because we're in the same fucking house. Pretty much. And she would, whenever I would feel some type of way, she understood how I felt. I felt like she understood me before I even spoke any words. And we talked a lot. We talked all the time. I was her solace. She was my solace. Right. When I left and graduated high school and went back to New York, things started getting obviously worse for her. And it felt like I was missing. I was missing a part of me. So I ended up like visiting her a lot. Well, as frequently as I could.
Yes.
And visited her as best as I could after she moved out. Because after I moved out, they moved out as well and got their own apartment. So I would visit them at their new apartment and visit the kids and help with the kids and like give her money and like cook for them and stuff like that. Like every time I came over, I always like supported her. I didn't give a fuck about him. Now, the second thing was meditation.
Okay.
I went to a meditation club. There were this guy that I thought was mad cute. And he was mad smart. He was like, oh, I just, professor, is it okay if I just make a quick announcement for my club? And the professor is like, of course, like you're a good student. Like, go ahead, take,
you got dignitized to go to a motherfucking meditation club. Congratulations.
Hell yeah. And I did not get the dick. I did not get the dick. That's the moral of the story. Everybody's gonna be asking themselves, hell no, not a number, not a kiss, not a hold hand, not a hello. Like, but it's okay because I got something even more wholesome, more valuable than that I could ever ask for. And which was learning what the fuck meditation was. I thought meditation was like that cross your legs and you sit
right. I'd be like, ooh.
I was like,
I'm done.
I want to listen to rock music. Do I have to like, you know what I mean? Like this seems not like me, but it actually was incredibly relaxing and refreshing. I had to be alone with myself, away from not me with other people. Because I remember like I forced myself to be extroverted a lot.
Yes.
It was me quietly alone, just me, myself, and who I was. And I had to look into myself and ask myself questions I didn't want to ask myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had to think about things I repressed. Think about things that I use loud music to fucking shut out the voices and the noise.
That's amazing.
And
she is pulling something up, ladies and gents. Now I am curious.
Oh no, I had to like move out a notification. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But,
I was just like, oh,
sorry.
I was like, I think she's gonna do a live demonstration of her meditation.
Oh, sorry. So I had to push out notification because things are like popping up. But yeah, like I learned to just be alone with my thoughts. And that's when I started to understand, I'm depressed.
Oh.
This is why. And I was like, okay. So then what do I do? I'm a very proactive person. I don't like to like, oh well, that sucks. Oh, okay. No, I'm like, okay, what next?
Yeah.
I clearly don't want to be in this state, obviously.
Right.
And I can't talk to anyone about it, because if I talk to someone who is a professional, and obviously this is free consultation without insurance, they're gonna say, hey, CSI, can we get this kid away from these fucking people? Like, they're gonna
fucking done.
And that was something that I experienced sophomore year.
Oh.
This is now senior year that I started meditation.
Right.
So I was like, I really can't talk to anyone. And if I did try to talk to, let's say, my mom, who I love and is like my twin now, at the time, I wasn't living with her. So to explain things that she couldn't see and feel at the day to day was very difficult. And to her, as every right that she should, as an adult, you know, you gotta fucking go to work, gotta pay bills, got motherfuckers calling you like, hey, you know, the 20th passed. You know, do you want this incurred interest, or are you gonna pay us? Yeah, it's like, if I could fucking pay you, I would, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the fucking concept. But anyways, it's like things like that, or like making sure that, like, sometimes everything's going smoothly. All of a sudden, your fucking car went to in the fucking middle of the night, and you're like, what the hell is going on? It's like nonstop. You have to like maintain this like balance, and you're never taught how to. So being an adult is incredibly difficult. Cannot put it in words. Okay. So for me to go to my mom and be like, yeah, I didn't really feel like doing homework because I'm depressed. To her, to someone who is a first generation immigrant, her definition of depression was an idle mind is the devil's workplace.
Yep.
No, playground. My bad. Yeah. An idle mind is the devil's playground. So she said, just busy yourself.
Yeah. I feel like that's a generational thing, to be honest, right? Like this. How
they gonna help me with depression? You telling me that I'm depressed because I'm just sitting here like, I was like, no. I was like, there's something more than that. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm something wrong with me. Help me, adults. Like, help me. Help me try to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Right.
And my family was like, oh, you're just gross. Like, they literally had an intervention because they were like, we don't know what's going on with you.
Oh my God.
Yes, it was. And this was like with my cousins as well on Long Island. And they had an intervention with me. And they were like, you know, like, why are you acting the way that you're acting? This isn't like you, Courtney. You know, you are like I don't know. There's not the direct words, but like, I'm basically like the star child of the family.
There it is. So it finally comes out. Their fucking trump card. We raised you like this. You're the most talented bitch on the block.
And they're like, for you to now throw your shit away for what? And I'm like, it's not like I'm not doing it on purpose, but I'm not developed enough to be able to actually explain what's going on, right? I'm still growing. So I have limited vocabulary, I have limited knowledge and an understanding. Now I could better assess myself, honey. But I haven't been living with myself in that state of mind to be able to break down to someone what this is. Because to them, it's just a phase. To them, it's gonna go away in like maybe 2 weeks. Just focus on school, and then you won't even realize when it's gone. And I'm like, how? The problem is I can't focus on school if that shit there. Like, I can't just be like, oh, okay, well, depression, I need you to move over.
Hold on.
Hold your horses. I need to move back off to fucking school. Like, can we reschedule our appointment depression? Because right now it's not a good time for me. No, and that was like, I was like, oh my gosh. And then meditation, it felt like I was connecting with someone I wish I knew.
Mm.
And it was the most awe-inspiring moment when I first meditated. And I remember this. I don't even know where the fuck I got it from. I can't find it now. It was an app. I just put meditation
And I just downloaded it.
and I downloaded it on my Android. And I have to specify in case somebody out here like, oh, my iPhone. No, it was Android, just in case, because there's some things that's like only Android, only iPhone.
Only iPhone, yes.
And why is this thing so bright still? And I lowered it, like I think it's at the lowest level, and I still feel like,
Posh, don't worry. It's okay. You shine
I
like a
hope
star.
so.
That's what it is.
See, look at that. Look at that.
I just seen that.
Anyways, thank you, spirits. Thank you for illuminating me, I guess. So I remember he was like, okay, just focus on your breathing, breathe in, breathe out, visualize, your breath. And then the imagery is the same imagery I actually teach other people when they want to learn meditation, which is you're sitting by a tree or whatever. And it's like, you can imagine the grassy field or whatever that you feel around you, and you're just listening to the winds and the sounds of the birds, whatever. And you see a fucking river in front of you, and you watch the river just passing from whatever direction you feel most comfortable with. It could be left to right, right to left, whatever.
Right.
And you watch it pass in front of you. And your thoughts, anything that comes into your head, are the leaves in the trees.
Oh, like
and as
that.
they're falling, visualize them. Visualize the wind pushing the leaves onto the river, and you watch it float down away.
Ooh.
That is how you put yourself into a state of void. Then from there, you can go into void and then pick out a little folder of like a specific like idea, topic, whatever. All right, now I'm a little stark. Idea, topic, or whatever. And then you can actually like delve into your mind and focus on a specific thing without feeling like you're being overwhelmed with so many thoughts, or like you're like being distracted or whatever.
Right.
And that is what helped me look more into myself. And I started to ask myself, why do I act the way that I do? Why do I allow this to happen? Why is it that I'm in this situation? Why does this person treat me this way? And I started to analyze and assess the daily things that happen in my life. Maybe the way that I visualize things, and I started to think of myself objectively instead of subjectively. And that is when I was able to like navigate my like mentality and my emotions in a more healthier way. And that's when I realized, okay, I'm in this house. I know I hate it. Pretty much everyone but except one person, not including kids. Everyone but one person in this house I hate with a burning passion. What can I do about it? I can't kill them. That is manslaughter. Is jail worth it? No.
Definitely not.
Could I burn the house? Chances of me hiding that? Not so great. So no. And then I was like, well, if I can't get rid of them, can I get rid of myself? I was like, well, I kind of like myself too much to kill myself. So let's try something else. I was like, do I run away?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I do need money, and in the state, I'm not able to actually work. So I would be homeless for some time. The shelters are really far apart because you have to pretty much have a car to drive anywhere. And I was like, well, at least I have a bed. So maybe not run away. And I can't have a job after school because I have a curfew. Rude ass fly.
I just seen that. I was like, is that a glitch? It's okay. It's okay. You know what? Only 3 people watch this on YouTube. It's fine. Everyone else is listening. You're good. You're good.
Rude. But so besides that, then I was like, okay, what are my other options? I was like, well, I can stick it out because I do want to graduate high school. I need that to basically survive in a society in a legal manner. Otherwise, I'm selling drugs, and I don't like socializing, so I can't sell drugs and I can't hustle myself. And I don't think I have the body to be able to be a stripper. I don't think so, and I don't necessarily want to sell myself on the internet because it stays together, and
it's not you.
It doesn't.
It is not
It's
you.
not me. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? What if I just toughed this bitch out? I was like, damn, that sucks. And I was like, well, what other option do I have? And it's like, you know what? Maybe not everything is the easiest choice.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, okay, so this is what like adulthood is like. It's not, this is why people say like the hardest choice is like the best choice may not be the easiest choice. And I barely graduated. That was a struggle. That was a fucking struggle to the very last day. I barely graduated, but I finally did. And I went into college. And when it's so funny because my mom knows I fucking hate them. My mom came in and it was like maybe the day after graduation or like 2 days after graduation. So she came by and she said, all right, it's time to leave. And yeah, so she's like, it's time to leave. She's like, I have the car ready. It's a sedan. It's a BMW sedan. Just remember that.
Yeah.
I have a whole bedroom full of stuff. So all I did was I grabbed every fucking thing that belonged to me, that I purchased, that whatever. I fucking grabbed that into a garbage bag and I stuffed that shit and I fucking tied it up, tossed it downstairs. Next bag, tossed that bitch downstairs. And I just had whatever, like maybe I think 2 garbage bags, like 2 big like garbage bags of just trash or whatever I was leaving behind. I cleared that fucking room out. My mom was like, we could always come back tomorrow. I said, hell no. I packed that car like fucking Tetris was my life. Like, it's not gonna fit. It's not gonna work. I was like, you sure about that? I fucking rearranged shit. Like, everything fit. There was only enough space for just me and my mom and for her like rearview mirror to actually see through. We have to be safe, right?
Yeah.
Bro, I fucking that same night. And my aunt and uncle were like, damn, like you don't really want to come back that bad. I was like, you ain't gonna see me again after this. Hell no. Like, I am so like, this was just like, it was so liberating. I felt so happy to go back home and start college and to just revel in my identity the way that I want to be and finally be in a social situation where I felt most comfortable. But honestly, if it wasn't for that woman, my cousin's baby mama, her like pep talks and her like believing in me, that support, that moral support, to show that I like to kind of reinstill that like security and confidence that I was starting to waver myself.
Right.
Because that's what happens when you ask yourself, hey, is it, this fucking fly again on my fucking nerves, bro. I started to ask myself in all these different situations, it seems like the one factor that's fucked is me. Right. And I was like, why? Yeah. Maybe I'm not, whatever. And when I spoke to her, she was just like, no, you're fucking amazing. Like, what are you talking about? And it's like, it's just the people that you're hanging out with, the people that's around you, that's not amazing. And that's not a reflection out of you. It's just that they cannot handle who you are, how real you are, how genuine you are, how mature you are. They can't keep up with that conversation. They can't keep up with that mentality. They don't understand that accepting you for who you are doesn't change anything about them. They feel like it threatens them because they are not confident enough to step out of the social norms to do something as bold as to say, I am me.
Right.
And so I was like, damn, lady. I was like, really? That's what you think about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, damn. So, but it was that constant talking and that constant pep. And like, we did damn near everything together. Yeah. And she really, I have to give her incredible credit as to like me loving who I am without the extra seasoning and sauce because
Of
of
course.
pushing
Of
myself to be
course.
extroverted.
No.
And then if it wasn't, and then with that as the catalyst, the meditation kind of sealed the deal. And I think I definitely wouldn't be the person that I am
If it wasn't for those things,
if
yeah.
it wasn't definitely for those things. Absolutely.
I like that. I feel like if there's another lesson to be learned here, um, I hope all of you guys who are listening right now or watching this are able to see just how far Court had come. And, obviously she had to omit certain things in her stories, like stories in her life, just because, sometimes it might be too much to talk about or whatever. But I hope this painted a really, I would say, accurate portrayal of how hard it is to grow up under the household of somebody else's home, where they did have the person's best interest at heart, but they don't realize that their influence could be the very thing that could dismantle their entire growth, that could stunt their development into who they are as a person, or who they were meant to be. And if there's anything that we have learned from today, aside from Courtney's a badass bitch, don't fuck with that shit. It's the fact that may we all be Courtney's cousin's baby mama to somebody. Okay.
How did you remember the fact that you remember the whole, and that sounds so like, it sounds so fake too. Like right? One of those like, my cousin's like auntie from the father's side, second removed with a third leg, like with a third leg. Like it sounds so fake, but I just don't want to say her name out of respect, because of course I can't, consent to anyone's and sharing anyone's name. But actually, when you mention that, there is someone who is currently a streamer. If you know, you know. If you don't, shut up. Okay. But there is someone who is currently a streamer who is young. Okay. And I met him because he rated me. And we were in a couple of different communities, like similar communities that you're in, like that we share. And on Twitch, if I should specify. And we clicked. One time we decided to play Fortnite together off stream. Excuse me, and we're having conversations, and he is a sophomore in high school, and he's growing. And honey, he was very apprehensive about sharing a lot of things to protect his family.
Of course.
But once I assured him that he's not alone, even though I'm not his ethnicity, that he is not.
I love how that had to be said.
He's not alone, because I don't want to keep giving all these things. All of a sudden, it just pinpoints down, but
right to who it is. Yes,
but I'm not his ethnicity, and so that he is not alone in the things that he had to grow up in, and the feelings that he's feeling, and to show that it's possible to grow and build from that to be an amazing person. And he held himself back a lot because of his social situation similar to mine. Mm-hmm. And I gave him as much comfort and love that I possibly could. Still to this day, nice. I do that. And I tell him, I was like, listen, you can share anything to me, even if it's the craziest thought, like right. You want to stab the shit out of your professor. You can share that thought with me. Let me be your social diary.
Yeah.
And I don't judge you, and I don't ever like talk down to you because you are younger.
Right.
You are intelligent enough. You've been going to fucking school. You better be intelligent. You intelligent enough to be able to start to assess who you are, understand who you are, and grasp, what's going on around you. And which I thought was one of the most flustering things growing up, especially dealing with adults, where they're like, oh, you're just a kid. It's just going to be a phase. Not everything is just a phase.
Exactly.
right? Some of these things can really mold the person's personality and who they are as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, he was receptive to my, I guess I could just easily just say love and support. Um, to the point where he felt comfortable enough not only to proudly out himself to me, but eventually to his stream.
Okay. That's
Which
really wow. That's really good.
I
That's
love
fucking
him so
amazing.
much. Oh my
Oh
god.
my goodness.
He like I like it's like the little brother I wish I never had. I
Mm.
mean, I wish I always
Oh, now I've heard of the other term, but I
I
have
mixed it up.
never heard of this term.
It up. He was a younger brother I never had, but I always wish I had. That's what I meant to say. Anyways, and I've seen it's only been a few months that I've known him, and I've actually got the opportunity to meet him and like really give him love and like really like be there for him, as well as like we have like this friend group, and I've seen him grow and like blossom only in the matter of a few months, just because he feels understood. I had to kind of beat that in him a little bit.
I don't blame you.
In a good way, but I definitely had to beat
fucking
that
know
in
yourself,
him.
huh? You fucking know.
But it would be like he kept saying sorry, and I'm like, what reason are you sorry for?
Yeah.
I was like, you have no reason to be sorry. I was like, if you have a reason to be sorry, I understand. I was
Sorry,
apology. But if you're just saying sorry because of something that someone beat that submission into you,
yeah.
don't do that with me.
Yeah.
Don't do that to the world. You are comfortable to use me as a tester when you're, and then when you're ready, you use that for the world. But I was like, with me, don't tell me sorry if you have no reason to be sorry. I also told him like, don't feel like you have to like curb your words or curb your feelings. Like you can be 100% honest with me. And he's a shady little one. He's sassy as shit. Like I was like, thank God that you're coming out into your own shell. And I love it, and I praise him for it. And I mean, he still has a ways to grow. And all I do is just show him that it's possible to grow into the person that you wish to be.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is on him. And it, like you mentioned, just being that my cousin's baby mama to someone else. And I feel like if you know what it's like to grow through that, the least you could fucking do is be there for someone else when you notice those signs.
That is
especially as an adult. It means a lot. It means a lot to someone who is younger than an adult. You understand them. You hear them. You listen to them. And you don't tell them, but you say, I understand you. Now, what can we do moving forward?
There you go. I love that one. No shouldn't, it's always gotta be
everything
workable.
Is a learning experience. Everything.
Yeah.
I think one of the things is people always feel regrets. But if you live that way, you're living in the past. You're not living towards your future.
Exactly.
And growth is
go on.
Growth is definitely not omnidirectional. Yes. It is one direction. You are going up. That is the definition of growth. You are going up and forward. You cannot digress. All you can do is assess, reevaluate, and make a plan moving forward.
I like that.
Even if you kill somebody, honey, assess, reevaluate, and move on forward.
Now,
Okay.
we're not promoting that
we're not
we're
promoting
not
that you
saying
do
this.
that in order for you to reach those. You can just
Say, assess, I kill someone, move forward, go to jail, and pay for your sins.
But that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Except they just have a very long time to assess. That's the problem. But there are things that me and Stephen, listen, we did some fucked up things.
Fucked up.
Fucked up things. As wholesome as we are now. I won't even say portrayed it. No, we are wholesome. But it took multiple layers to be able to understand different perspectives and different situations of people, to be able to be wholesome for everybody. We had to be that fucked up person to be able to welcome that fucked up person in with warm arms. We wouldn't be able to, because you would be like, oh my God, you're such a meanie, get away from me. But we had to be that meanie to be able to understand that there's more to that. So I wouldn't say ever to regret what you've done. It is there, and all you can do in what already has happened. Of course, in the future, think more deeply about what you do.
Yeah.
Don't, just do things and then be like, well, I'll regret it later, or I'll figure it out. No, obviously grow from it, because you're not growing. You're just passing on the responsibility and the blame elsewhere. You're not taking accountability in assessment to be able to reevaluate. You're just looking at it and then doing it fucking again and again. You're supposed to look at it and look back, right? I know, I saw my face. You're supposed to look at it and look back and accept that you are human. And you have to sometimes go through the shittiest shit to be able to come back and come out and say, I know what that's like. And you can survive that, and you can live past that, and you can live a very fruitful and successful life.
The key word
here, make that choice.
That Posh is trying to say is...
Yeah, not talk too fucking much.
No. Hey, now. Look, this is exactly why I created this show.
Hey, now.
No. But the whole point of why I created this show is exactly for people like Posh to be able to tell their stories. Now, some episodes will have, half an hour. Some episodes will have, 2 hours. Some episodes, like Posh, will take the entire season. I don't care. But my biggest thing is...
He said no edits.
No edits. No, this is it's one take. Everybody knows this one take. But this is exactly why I do these things, because what kind of a podcast or a show would it be if you try to invite somebody to speak their truth and you say, well, it's a condensed truth, okay? Because we don't have time for this shit. So I try not to put time limits on these things. So you know what? Don't feel bad. I don't want you to feel like, oh, I talk too much. No. I'm glad you did. You know what I mean? Like, I have those questions set up now for people who are listening or watching this. I usually have questions set up just in case the guest is one of those people that you kind of ask and they're just kind of like, oh, yes, I grew up like this. And then it's done. And then it's like, okay, next question.
It's like fucking chapters and layers of fucking
And I loved it because I don't got to go through those questionnaires because we actually covered a lot of stuff that I never thought we would. And it's amazing. Trust me, it's amazing. But before we go, I do have to say this. Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to Posh, the court, for
thank you for having me and inviting me.
Dude, I loved every single second of this. I am so proud and I am so happy to hear somebody like you going I'm not happy to hear you went through that, but I'm actually happy to hear you went through that and you are still here. And now you are doing what, the people that were in your life did for you out of kindness to help you get to where you are. And I think that is the most important journey. And as what I was pertaining to earlier, The word that we're trying to use is not so much regret, but remorse. Don't forget, regret, when a person feels regret, it's because they don't want to face repercussions. When people regret something, it's because they know they done fucked up and now they're wishing they don't have to fucking take accountability. When you are remorseful over what you have done, you are feeling that deep remorse because you know what? You don't ever want to do what you had just done to anything else or somebody else in the future. And those are very different things that can be misconstrued, right? A lot of people will say, well, I regretted everything I've done, so I have grown. And it's like, no, but did you show any remorse for any of your actions in the past? And that is the biggest difference. And you can see with what Posh had done with her life, she didn't even need to allude to all those things that she had done. That's kind of the difference in the storytelling that you can see with people who feel remorse over what they've gone through. So I just want to leave y'all with that. Be the Posh to that gay streamer now. Be
Oh
the
Lord.
cousin's baby mama to Posh to somebody else out there. Because we all need that. Some of us were not lucky to have that. I wasn't lucky enough to have that. And in turn, I became somebody who hurt a lot of people. And now I'm paying for all of that. Thank God, not with monies, but you know, I mean, shit. Fuck me.
Thanks.
Right? But exactly. And this is just a sliver of what growth actually looks like. And it differs from person to person. And I hope that hearing about Posh's journey throughout her life, her growth, with everything that she had been through, I hope it inspires you guys to not do the splits in front of the popular people. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my
I'm kidding.
God.
No, but
Oh my.
to be kinder to other people who you might see that, you know, kind of like Posh was having a hard time and we don't know why. It's because nobody, when she was growing up, nobody taught their children to be kind to somebody else's kid. Imagine if somebody had just reached out to Posh and was just kind of like, hey, girl, you interesting looking person, you, because of your style, you're actually really fucking cool. The amount of good things that. Sorry if you should have seen Posh's face then. But my point was, she wouldn't have had to suffer through most of those things, and she would still be the same person today with less hurt. I know we say, you know, sometimes you got to get hurt to be where you are, but honestly, you really don't.
You don't.
You really don't. It's the lessons that, you know, it's the knowledge that gets passed on to you that turns you into who that person is. But you can avoid the hurt. So, guys, let's do that for other people. Again, I want to say thank you to Posh, guys. Posh, I need you to plug your stream. I need you to plug whatever you need a plug here before we go. Drop your socials.
Yes, so you can actually find me on Twitch. It is Poshtriangle. It should be just like that. Yeah. POSH, and you know how to spell triangle. If you don't,
hey Siri, how do you
should have watched another video before this, right? You should go on YouTube and look up shapes. As far as on socials, I think on Instagram, it's Poshtriangle. Good question. It's a good question. It's
your
Posh dot triangle. Because Instagram want to fight me. That's why. So I have to like finagle it. Twitter is also like Poshtriangle _. It's all like variants, but all my socials are on Twitch, so you can mostly find me on Twitch. That's where I'm most active. I am a variety streamer, so I not only game, but I'm also going to be also doing more podcasts, kind of similar to this, as well as like trivia game nights, community nights, where I focus on other streamers to build the Twitch community, which I feel like they only care about the big people like Ludwig or whatever. No shame to Ludwig, but I'm just saying, like, I'm very big on I'm giving props for people where
Yeah.
people definitely deserve it. So yeah, you could definitely catch me on there. Don't be too shy to say hi. And if you want, you can come over and fucking kill this fly for me because it's getting on my fucking nerves. To be honest, that bitch was like living his free life this entire
Done.
time.
I am dead. Thank you so much, Posh. Guys, remember, if you have any questions at all, or if you want to be on the show, just give me a shout. You can find me on Twitch, Benson Agreed 17, or you can email me, stephendiego, stephendiego at hotmail.com. Talk to me about things. If you have any questions for Posh, you can reach her on her socials, or you can reach her through me if you're
Yeah.
too shy. But guys, again, thank you so much for being here. I love that you guys are still following us and you're still listening. To all of you who are still here, remember what we said. Be compassionate, be kind, because you never know who's going to need it. This has been Breaking Down the Breakdown. I will see y'all soon. Bye, guys.